Hey guys, this is Alec, and welcome back to Tech Authority. Before we get started in today's video, I just wanted to remind everybody who's viewing this to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as well as down in the description below are all my links to Instagram, Twitter, and whatever else, and follow me on all of those to stay up to date with the latest on the channel and me in general. This video is going to be, the idea of this video came to be because of a recent experience I had. About a week ago, I had the opportunity to drive a Tesla car with a yoke steering wheel. Now, obviously, I wasn't allowed to film any of this, so I'm going to be making a video on the yoke steering wheel in Tesla cars. A lot of new Teslas coming out, including the new Tesla Roadster, the Tesla Cybertruck, the Tesla Model S Plaid, as well as they're updating all of their other Teslas, have the option or are going to come with a yoke steering wheel. And a lot of people, especially on Twitter, were freaking out because this is a crazy new design that they are going to be doing with the new Tesla steering wheel. We're going to be taking a look at why they added a yoke steering wheel to all the new Tesla cars, as well as what are the benefits and what are the downsides of driving or having a yoke steering wheel compared to a regular steering wheel. Now, I am in a unique position as I am actually a private pilot, so I have my pilot's license, so I know exactly how a yoke works, a yoke steering wheel in a way, works inside of an airplane and why they use it within an airplane. I've also tried and drove around in a Tesla with a yoke steering wheel. Let's talk about the yoke steering wheel in general, kind of the history of the yoke steering wheel. Obviously, they're used in airplanes today, and they weren't always used in airplanes in the past. Originally, because cars came before airplanes, the beginning early days of airplanes, all those airplanes actually had regular circular car steering wheels, I guess, in airplanes. And as airplanes progressed and progressed and progressed, they generally came to a standardized design, which is what you see today in terms of a yoke steering wheel. Now, the reason why airplanes use and have yoke steering wheels compared to, a circular steering wheel is due to kind of the nature of the aircraft. You have three different kind of things you're correcting for. So you have pitch, which is forward and backwards. You have roll, which is obviously side to side. And then yaw, which is kind of like this motion like this. Now, in an airplane, you are really only supposed to have one hand on the yoke, right, or the steering wheel. And this is because you have your left hand or your right hand on the yoke, and that controls, if you go in and out, that controls the pitch, and if you go left to right, it controls the roll. And obviously with an airplane, you cannot actually take the yoke and spin it more than 180 degrees. And this is limited to the reason or how you turn. Obviously in an airplane, you turn your ailerons to turn into a bank. And in addition to that, so you have your left hand controlling those two, your right hand is controlling your power, your radios, and all of that, and then your feet are actually controlling the rudder. And that is preventing you and helping you control this motion in an airplane. And fun fact, in an airplane, when you're on the ground, when you're not in the air, you actually control the aircraft using your feet. So there's no reason whatsoever in an airplane to actually it actually would be harder to fly an airplane if you had a regular steering wheel or if you could spin the yoke more than 90 degrees. So if we go into cars and my experience driving this Tesla with a yoke steering wheel. Now, the Tesla that I drove, and I guess most of them, actually will have the steering ratio will be less than what it is on regular cars today. So for example, my Toyota Tacoma has a steering ratio of about 17.5 to 1, whereas this Tesla that I drove had a turning ratio of 14 to 1. So that means that for every 14 degrees that I turn my steering wheel, the wheel on the car will turn 1 inch. And so when I was driving this in turns and going fast on the freeway, I found it super easy and I barely needed to really turn the steering wheel to get, sharp turns, right? So going through tight switchbacks, no issue. I could just slightly turn it because it was more responsive in a way. But as soon as it came to parking, it was horrible because you have to like fumble around and it's very awkward to do extremely tight turns such as U-turns and parking, which is absolutely horrible. And this is demonstrated in, the videos of people driving the car on YouTube today. It's absolutely horrible. If you're reversing, if you're doing anything more than like, regular driving, so parallel parking, U-turns, regular parking, anything like that, it's going to be extremely awkward and actually doesn't really make sense as to why they would put a yoke steering wheel in a Tesla. And it just doesn't really make sense, especially if you're driving a Cybertruck, say, or any of these other cars, and you have a trailer on your car and you're reversing with the trailer. It's going to be extremely hard. It's going to be significantly harder than if you had a regular steering wheel. And in addition to this, all the items that were on like the stocks of your car, so like windshield wiper fluid, windshield wipers, turn signals, all of that are actually now put onto the steering wheel. So when I drove it, it felt very natural to have both of my hands on the steering wheel like this. And I could do the lights, the washer fluid, the blinkers, all on the steering wheel with my thumbs. So I could just tap and I could choose which things that I wanted, which was very, very intuitive in that respect. It took a little bit of getting used to, but it was very, very intuitive in that sense. But just driving around, doing like freeways, doing some tight, mountain driving, I actually thought it was killer. I thought it was way better than a regular normal steering wheel. And that's due to the fact that it just felt very natural to have both my hands here and not having to turn the steering wheel as much due to the tighter or less or more responsive turning radius of the car. But as soon as I was not doing any of that, which is just regular parking, parallel parking, anything that really required you to turn the wheels more than just a little bit, it was horrible. It was a disaster, and it just felt very weird and awkward. So there is some benefits again to this, which include being able to see the dashboard better, or like the instrument cluster, right, with your speed and whatnot, a little bit better. But then that doesn't make sense to have it if you were to have a Model 3 or anything like that, because all the information is off to the side on that screen and there is no like instrument dash in front of you. And then another nice thing, I guess this is in a lot of newer cars such as like the new Corvette and things like that, having the bottom of the steering wheel be flat was nice because then it didn't hit my legs and my legs had a little bit more clearance and room. But again, I think having the bottom gone is definitely a plus, but having the top of the steering wheel gone is not at all beneficial in my view. So Tesla is definitely experimenting with different types of steering wheels and trying to just, I guess, revolutionize the market, because I believe they are still going to offer a regular steering wheel for all the cars that are going to have yoke steering wheel. It seems like they're just experimenting with every type of steering wheel to find a better steering wheel than what is currently offered in literally like all cars today. If you guys do have a Tesla or have driven one with a yoke, don't forget to comment down below what your experiences are, if you agree with me, if you disagree, or if any of you guys just have any questions or different opinions, please leave a comment down below, as well as don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms, which will be linked down in the description below.